All right, welcome back to our Tri-State Trends podcast. I got my man, good friend Collin McFarland, who's just an absolute stud. If you don't know him, you're going to find out why in a short second. But my man is putting up way past full-time production with a part-time schedule, and it's pretty inspiring and awesome if you learn about his walk in life and what he's looking to accomplish. It is definitely amazing to see and amazing to watch. But it's an honor, my man, to have you on the podcast, sir. How are you today?
Doing great. I appreciate the kind words, Mark, and excited to be here today.
We're excited to have you, man. Anybody who can do what you're doing in the amount of time you're doing it, we gotta take some nuggets from that. I have people that call me every day, Collin, that are concerned about, the activity that they're putting in versus the result that they're getting in telesales. But if I call you, I get the exact opposite. I'm getting less time, max activity, high results. Can you walk us down the journey of like what you did to transition from the field to telesales? Because I know that was a big thing for you. But then what did you do to kind of normalize telesales? What's your approach to it, and how are you getting out what you're getting out? 47 families in July, 72 families in August in 20 to 25 hours a week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kept my in-home pretty much the same. I mean, there's some little things that I picked up along the way that helps me, with closing or whatever. But when I made the transition, the first thing that I did was I upped my lead spend to, I think I just about doubled it. Maybe a little bit more, but I think I doubled it was what I originally did. Just because I knew there was going to be a learning curve, and the reason I really wanted to go telesales was because it was just starting to be a lot to go to school and drive and work and ministry, and it was just a lot to do. So I wanted to try to figure out how to do it from home. But what's helped me though was I took some data and I just kept plugging along. The first couple months I had to figure it out. The first 2 or 3 months were harder. But I took some data when I got into the summer of about 6 months. So I think I did it back in, it's probably 4 or 6 months. But I figured out my sit ratio with my dialer. I figured out my close ratio, the number of apps I write on average, and the amount per application I typically write. So then I figured out, well, I want to write 15 a week. That's my goal. So if I do that and I work the numbers backwards, it came out to just about 40 appointments. And then I sit with the dialer, I sit with 41% of them. So it's really not a great number, but 41% was the number I had. And then I had my close ratio and everything else figured out too. So because of that, it's been somewhat, structured, I guess.
That's great. So you reverse engineered from day one?
Not from day one. I had to get data first. So the first couple months, that's why I upped my lead spend, just to try to hit it hard.
More data. That's amazing.
did. Right. Yeah, I had to get some numbers up first before I even knew what I was struggling with. But then once I kind of just powered through and went through some of the learning curve of it, I found that telesales for me, it's a lot more transactional. I don't think you can be with most people too much of rapport building over the phone. I think when you do it, it turns into too much of a sale, where they feel like they're being sold to. Whereas if you just kind of keep it like transactional, hey, you responded to this. My job's just to give you some information on what you could be qualified for, and then we'll take a look at your options, and then we'll apply or close it out. One of the two.
That makes sense, bro. I actually like that take. I don't think I've ever thought of it like that, but I do. That makes a lot of sense. Because I'm right now I'm rewinding all the over the phone sales that I've bought, all the things that have been sold to me over the phone, and I'm kind of like, yeah, no, I don't remember, laughing a ton and doing a whole, like, it's been very, I'm here and how fast can we get done type thing. So how'd you figure that out?
Well, just from trial and error, failing. First month or so, I just struggled a lot, just trying to figure out how this works and how this looks. When you're new to telesales, if you get two people out of eight, you think that's a bad day. For me, that's not a bad day. I mean, it's like I worked on Monday, I didn't sell anything, and I had like 8 appointments, and I didn't sit with any, but I think one. I think one out of eight I actually sat with. The other ones were either no shows or just absolutely not interested at all. Um, but then you have a day where you sit with four or five, and they all want to buy insurance. And so I think like the way that the FFL sets up the in-home structure, it really makes it good, like makes it obvious to most people why this is a good product and why they should consider it. So for me, it just helps just to be transactional. I'm not a very like emotional guy anyway. So for me to be emotional, especially over the phone, I think would just be more awkward and it'd do more harm than good. It'd probably be better for me just to kind of give them facts.
Got it. So you're working to your comfort zone and style as well.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
For sure.
So, as you're setting up your week, 40 appointments, what does that look like? How many days a week? What are the hours of those appointments? What is the time frame that you're typically making that happen?
So typically it's rough times, but Monday 3 to 8 most of the time, 3 to 8 p.m. Tuesday I have just a few hours on Tuesday, and then so like 2 or 3 hours Tuesday afternoon, 2 or 3 hours Wednesday, just because that's when I get out of class and go back to the church. But then Thursday I work pretty much from 3 to 8, and then Friday from 10 a.m. to about 5. I don't try to work on Saturdays. I try to take those for family. I have been working a few just because we just bought a house, so
Ah,
just
motivation.
trying to yeah, just trying to work a little bit more, and we got some trips coming up. But other than that, that's about it though.
Wow. So you're getting this all done in very small time blocks. And again, there's people that are going to listen to this podcast and go, how is he doing that? You know? And I'm going to ask you, like, I'm hearing you. But again, I talk to so many people that are like, I can't do this. I can't get this on the phone. I can't get that on the phone. You're doing all appointments. So now you're living and dying with the appointment schedule. Yes. Like you're not, if it's because you have a dialer. So if it's not set and done, you're not, there's nothing you're going to do. Right. Someone no shows you.
Yeah.
Are you making calls?
No, no, not right now. If I wasn't in school, maybe
Yeah.
I would try to get some more appointments, but I got to use that time for homework and reading, and so.
But it's still highly, highly efficient. So you've come to grips with this is my level of output, this is what I can do, and this is it. This is my efficiency. And the efficiency rating is insane. So because the numbers prove it. So there's also a mindset that you have on those days, or there's a last shot mentality mindset or trigger pulling mindset that I would love to unpack because either people are not telling me the truth and they're taking all day to dial, or you have a mindset that someone needs to hear about, or both. But I still want to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, be completely honest with you. So my testimony is different. I got away from the Lord and got away from church, and FFL was only brought to me as an answer to prayer because I knew that the Lord had called me to go to Bible college, and this was the job that He gave me to be able to make money and do that. So for me, and this would be a message to anybody, is my recommendation would be figure out what the Lord wants you to do in your life and base your life around that, because that's the reason I believe we have these appointments like set up the way they are, because I know He wants me to be in Bible college and to be serving. So I've had to learn over these last 2 years to just have faith that if I'll just do that, that He'll find the appointments and He'll send the people where they need to go. And that's been a hard thing. That's been a very hard thing. Because it doesn't make sense, but it's been the truth though. It's been, is I know where He wants me to be, and I don't compromise that. And so, as far as like a logistical standpoint, figure out your numbers would be my advice to someone. Figure out, what your close ratio is and your sit ratio, and then you can backwards, like you said, backwards engineer it. You can figure out, what do I need to do? But other than that, this hasn't really been something by my own choice. My efficiency, the efficiency that I have is literally not my choice at all. This is the Lord's. I have to go to school, and so He has worked out the rest of it, and it's just been really cool.
That's a great answer. I get it. um, but I like what you said. You said that's hard for me because it doesn't make any sense. So, would you consider yourself an analytical person?
Yeah, I think so. I numbers make me feel better. So, like faith is hard, right? Faith is hard. But numbers make me feel better about it for sure. But yeah, the other thing too is it's just to me it's just an equation, just like in-home is, like if you are a producer who closes 40% of the people you sit with, and you write an app, then you just got to figure out, how do I write 10 apps? How many appointments do I need for that? And the difficulty is that, even with what I'm doing, I have bad days and bad weeks all the time. Like I didn't close anything Monday or Tuesday this week. Just I had a bunch of no shows and people that just weren't interested. But I know, and I've learned just through working through it, if you just continue to press and continue to work, um, the numbers always work themselves out once you get down the road a little bit.
No doubt. Numbers make me feel better. I mean, they make me feel better sometimes too, Collin. I think, what you're saying is illogical, that, hey, this is what it's going to be, but it's not you saying it. It's God saying it. It makes a whole different animal. I remember being in the field, and I remember fighting like tooth and nail for this appointment schedule that I had worked out. And I was probably running this for 3 straight years, and my wife was starting to get a little tapped with my schedule. And I remember the pride I had with this schedule. Like, this is my schedule. I know what this produces. I've gotten here because of this schedule. And I remember like battling with that. And then when I took it to prayer, I lost the battle.
Yeah.
But because I lost the battle and I knew I was defeated, there was no way to come out of that still fighting. I said to God, all right, Lord. All right, you're right. It's your schedule. I said, Can you do more? Can you do more with less? So less appointments, or can you do the same with less? Same productivity, Lord, less appointments. Sure enough. Sure enough, my brother, I dropped from 30 to probably down to 22, which to me was blasphemy.
Yeah.
And I got the same result at 22 appointments that I got at 30. And I could not make sense of that, but I got it. Like I didn't ordain that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this is what my wife needed at the time because of the torque that I was running at for the amount of time I was running at that torque. So, yours is kind of, this is the setup. This is what you walked into. And because you walked into it, this is what you have. And because it's what you have, this is what He's blessed. And now you can make sense of that. But either way, man, you are killing it. And it's exciting to watch and see what you're able to do. It's got to feel good being able to kind of walk out your calling, but also be able to provide at this kind of level. How does that feel?
Yes. Well, I didn't look for FFL. FFL found me when as an answer to prayer. So I had no idea that there was an opportunity out here like this, or like about really any of this. So to me, it's such a good tool. I mean, it's such a wonderful tool to build a career on, to use for ministry, to help people. You're helping people with something important. Life insurance is very important. Like, people need life insurance. So it's been really awesome that the Lord has allowed us have this business and be able to provide at a good level. And, because of that, we can go and do more. We can serve more. We can go, more places. And it's just been great. It's been awesome.
That's fantastic. I mean, not many people have that story, but I think people have different stories in reference to how this is a means to an end, how this is a byproduct of, living out your calling and doing the things you want to do with your life. And I think the insurance industry has definitely been a catalyst for a lot of people in that regard. Collin McFarland, I appreciate you taking time to share some of your testimony and even, how and why you're doing what you're doing, in the way that you're doing it. So it's amazing to watch, and I thank you for sharing with us, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Collin. Keep listening, guys. Killer podcast. Anything, let faith lead you, and you'll always be good.
Amen.
Thanks, Collin. God bless.
Yes, sir. See ya.